Good afternoon, and I'm back with more information on the federal trial against Sean Diddy Combs. Jane said Combs once made her have sex with three men during an October 2023 rendezvous at L'Hermitage Beverly Hills Hotel. She didn't recall the name of the first man, but the second man was named Paul and the third man was named Sean. She said she had to leave to go throw up. Jane recalls Combs coming to check on her and then telling her to return to the party. She called the evening absolutely terrible. How, you dirty bastard. Like she threw up it. He is the final boss of selfishness and so many other things. But I'm trying not to catch a CGV again today. The witness said she couldn't leave her relationship with Combs in October 2023 despite her objections to sex with strangers. At the heart of the matter was the financial control Jane said that Combs had over her by paying the rent to her home. It was like the home was being used as leverage. It was, she said. In a text message to Combs displayed in court, she accused him of threatening the roof over my head, which he was. Jane said she viewed the footage Combs shot and kept of her having sex with strangers. I saw me being high. I was following a pattern, the pattern that I thought he wanted to see, she testified. I was like a show over, I'm sorry, it was like a show over and over again. During this whole time, Combs insinuated that these ongoing orgies were done on her own free will. When asked in court if she in fact consented to the hotel nights, Jane said she was still trying to figure that out. With all the coercion, intimidation, manipulation, and drugs, I would say no, sweetheart. You didn't consent to any of this. But I'm not a professional. Jane said she fainted after Combs' former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, filed a civil lawsuit against the music mogul, recognizing the civil complaint matched her own experiences with him. I almost fainted, Jane said after learning about the lawsuit. In fact, I think I did. Jane sobbed in recounting her reaction to Ventura's allegations. There were 3 specific pages that was just a harrowing reference to what I was experiencing, she said. I was just bewildered, just in shock. I know that feeling because you can feel like abusers make you feel like you're the only one going through it, that nobody else will understand, and there's so much shame that you're hesitant to speak out. So I know that feeling. I know many of you all unfortunately know that feeling also when you finally get confirmation that you're not the only one that this person did this to, that you are not to blame. Jane testified that Ventura's lawsuit read like a play-by-play of the sexual trauma that Combs allegedly inflicted on her. I reacted like, I can't believe I'm reading my own story, she testified. Ventura's civil complaint read word for word of the abuse she also endured, according to her testimony. I feel like I'm reading my own sexual trauma, Jane wrote in a 2023 text message confronting Combs. Prosecutors entered into evidence a recorded conversation between the witness and Combs that was taken from the cell phone of Combs' chief of staff, Christina Caron. Jane told the court that she didn't know that she was being recorded. During the phone call, which occurred days after Ventura's lawsuit was filed in November 2023, in the recording, Combs is asking Jane what he can do to make her feel better and telling her that his love is true. Was this before or after you left the country? Because Tazzy Farms remember that you even left your kids behind. You dirty bastard. But Jane is confused, telling him that she feels sick to her stomach after reading Ventura's suit. She told Combs that he made her feel so manipulated and that she didn't know what to do with her feelings. Combs told her that everything they did together. At that point, Jane is heard telling him that the timing was crazy and felt chilling. Jane is cut off by Combs when she starts to say that just a week ago, I was telling you, but Combs then interrupts and says he cannot be on the phone. I guess not, bitch, you was recording it. You were trying to slip her up to save your own ass. You're fucking despicable. But anywho, we'll have more updates in part 2 that'll be linked in the comments. Part 2. Combs pleaded for Jane's support in the light of the damaging Ventura lawsuit, according to a recorded phone call. I just needed to tell you, I need your friendship. You know you ain't got to worry about anything else, baby. Please pray for me, Combs said. I will be praying for you. I need your friendship, i.e., he needs your cooperation, your silence, your allyship, you to find the ability to be bought. It was then that Judge Subramaniam adjourned the court for lunch and asked jurors to return just before 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, after lunch, prosecutors showed a series of messages between Jane and Combs in December 2023, shortly after Ventura and months after Jane expressed displeasure at Combs' insistence she have sex with other men. In one message, Jane writes to Combs that she is crying and troubled, insisting that she no longer wants to do those nights with him. She urges him to hire prostitutes rather than emotionally hiring women who love him. Now that's a word. Later that month, Jane texted Combs that he was never satisfied. Combs wrote back that he didn't want to fight and asked her how to move forward. Oh, abusers always pull that, I don't want to fight, I don't like fighting. You don't like being held accountable. Jane told the court that after Ventura's suit was filed in November of 2023, she didn't see Combs until February 2024. She testified that they were on a break. The witness told Combs in late 2023 that she needed to stay away from him, accusing the music mogul of gaslighting her. That was an accurate assessment. That was accurate. That was pinpoint. That's what he does. That's who he is. In a series of text messages shown to the courtroom, Jane said it was best for her to stay clear of Combs, who didn't seem to understand her need for this distance. I wrote that because he was trying to work my reality again, Jane said. Every time I would speak the truth or tell him how I was feeling, he would move on from whatever I was talking about. Jane testified to the court that she had suicidal ideation at the end of 2023, and she expressed to Combs that she would kill herself. My poor Jesus. She believes that Combs would use and break her and that she hated her life. She wrote to Combs that he was done with her and that she just wanted to die. When asked why she wrote these messages by the prosecution, Jane cried so hard that her answer was difficult to understand. Please keep in mind that what you view as entertainment, when you're a true crime girly or guy, that these are still people. And I say this because there are people that are still trying to spread the identity of Maya and people trying to find out the identity of Jane. You don't need to know who they are. Dig into him. Dig into him. He is the one on trial. Stop contributing to the decline of people, because when it becomes overwhelming, and if they should take their own lives, you either want to criticize them or claim that they could have come to help. Who could they have come to? In late December 2023, Combs threatened to release sex tapes of Jane and show them to her baby's father, the witness testified. We've heard this tactic before. She said that Combs kept calling her and pressuring her as their relationship devolved. Jane told the court that he told her that he had nothing to lose by releasing tapes from the hotel nights. Jane texted Combs' employee Christina Karam to alert her to the situation, an exchange that was entered into evidence. Jane wrote that she was traumatized from her experience with Combs and wanted space, but Combs thinks she was going to blackmail him. She wrote that Combs was threatening to expose sex tapes in which she was heavily drugged and begged Karam to talk sense into him. Karam responded with reassurance that nothing would happen. Jane told the court. We'll have more in part 3, that of course will be linked in the comments. Part 3. The witness said that she joined the OnlyFans platform in early 2024. The platform is popular with sex workers who can sell explicit content of themselves to subscribers. I just wanted to reclaim having my independence and not rely on anyone and stand on my own 2 feet, she told the court. Keep in mind, she was already making money from being a social media influencer, and we learned from last week's testimony that having to always be on call for Diddy, she wasn't able to really keep up with that. That's how he finagled his way into being financially responsible for her and utilizing financial abuse against her. And anybody that goes, well, she couldn't have felt that bad about it. See, she consented. She joined OnlyFans. Absolutely the fuck not. Doing things that you want to do in your own capacity has nothing to do with anything else. Nothing. Jane told the court that she had sex with another man in front of Combs in Miami in February 2024 after having vowed to steer clear of the defendant. While this admission could damage Jane's narrative that she was being controlled by Combs, the government is trying to get ahead of the defense by having the witness recall the rendezvous first. Earlier during the trial, an expert on domestic abuse testified that victims regularly stay in toxic relationships or go back to them, believing there are no other better options. And keep in mind, he was paying for her residence and other things as well. Jane told the court she was still living in the residence paid for by Combs in March 2023 when Homeland Security investigations raided multiple residences belonging to Combs. HSI agents arrived at her home at the time, Jane testified. She told the court that she called Combs' head of security to alert him of the matter. Jane said she was represented by 2 different lawyers, both of them who were paid for by Combs. So how much latitude did she really have? We learned this also in Trump's Manhattan trial, where there were a lot of people who initially didn't speak up because their legal representation was paid for by Trump. A sex worker asked for $10,000 to keep a sex tape of himself and Jane kept under wraps, she testified. This man, identified only as Cabral, said Combs shot the video using the former's cell phone, thus giving the sex worker easy access to the footage, according to Jane. An undisclosed media company purchased the footage, Jane said, but the explicit video has never been publicly shown. Combs invited Jane to a huddle he convened last year to address the fallout from CNN's release of the 2016 Intercontinental Hotel video in which Combs was seen assaulting Ventura. Here's the thing. Is that the therapy that he claimed that he went to? Y'all remember that video? Y'all remember that video where he tried to look like a black-ass hippie after initially denying it? Jane told the court that Combs was attempting to come up with a response, at one point denying the video, but eventually posting an apology video to social media. Later, when she and Combs spoke about the video, Jane said he told her that it was the only time he had engaged in physical violence with Ventura. Nobody believes that bullshit. Combs told Jane that Ventura was a hitter, according to Jane. When asked if Combs told Jane he would hit Ventura, Jane said, "I think so, yes," but could not recall specifics. Jane recalled a long beating she suffered at the hands of Combs last summer, just 3 months before he was arrested. The two were at her home on June 18th. "A very terrible day," she said, before recounting the horrific, violent details of their confrontation. We will go into this in part 4. It'll be linked in the comments. Part 4. To be aware that in this part, domestic violence will be described. Please be aware. Domestic violence will be described. It is a part of Jane's testimony at this point. It started when they argued about Combs seeing a woman at least 25 years his junior, leading to Jane calling him a pedophile and slamming his head into a marble kitchen counter, she admitted. That's when Combs flew into a rage, with kicking in doors to her master bedroom and then the closet where Jane was trying to hide. As she fled, Combs kicked her in the back of the thigh, bringing her down so he could start choking her, Jane recalled. She managed to escape into the neighborhood and lingered for 2 hours in hopes Combs would leave, but he did not, according to her testimony. She ended up back at the house in the backyard where she curled in a ball, protecting her head, Jane said, as Combs kicked and punched her. After Combs found her, Jane testified that he dragged her by her hair back to the house's patio. She told the court that she punched Combs in the forehead, telling him that she hated him. Combs then allegedly punched her on the forehead and her eye area. Jane testified that she saw later that night that she had two golf ball sized welts on her forehead where Combs had punched her. After an elongated beating, Jane said she and Combs ended up back in her house where he forced her to take ecstasy and have sex with another man as he watched. Combs said, "Is this coercion?" before making Jane take ecstasy, the witness said. Then he had Anton, a sex worker they'd hired before, come to the house. The sheer audacity of this monster. "I had to perform oral sex on Anton. It just felt like forever," she said. "Sean was watching. I just felt disgusted. I felt terrible." Prosecutors showed photos of 4 doors that were each allegedly damaged by Combs during the altercation with Jane. Jane said Combs damaged her closet door, bathroom door, bedroom door, and a guest room door. Photos showed a crack down the center of the guest bedroom door that Combs caused by kicking it in, according to Jane's testimony. I have no words that wouldn't get me banned off every type of social media platform. So we'll leave it there.